If you're running a tech team, you know the drill, right? It's this constant battle between shipping new features fast and making sure everything is actually secure. And let's be real, speed usually wins. Security becomes a we'll get to it later kind of thing. But what's the real cost of making that trade-off? Let's get into it.
This quote right here, it perfectly nails the reality for so many startups and small businesses. You feel like you have to move fast to compete, but what you're really doing is taking out a high-interest loan. You're racking up all this hidden security debt, and believe me, attackers are the collectors who will eventually come knocking.
And look, this isn't some abstract philosophical problem. It's totally measurable. A simple scan can light up with critical warnings, everything from basic misconfigurations to exposed secrets. The whole point is to find these things yourself, long before a bad guy does it for you.
So what kind of stuff are we actually talking about here? These are not theoretical textbook examples. No, these are the real-world patterns we find every single week in APIs from really smart teams who honestly thought they had their security on lock.
First up, the absolute classic. You guessed it, API keys hard-coded right into the source code. It's a shortcut that feels totally harmless when you're in dev, but it becomes a complete disaster in production. These keys get committed to Git, they show up in build logs, or they're just sitting in plain text. It's basically the digital version of leaving your house key under the doormat.
Second, what I like to call the good enough implementation.
Now this one is way more subtle, but oh man is it dangerous. It's when developers build really complex things, like OAuth flows, just from memory, instead of, actually following the spec to the letter. It might seem to work 99% of the time, but that last 1%? That's where you get token validation gaps and misconfigured redirects. They're practically welcome mats for an attacker.
Coming in at number 3 is a really tricky balancing act.
Let's talk about rate limiting. It's tough. You set your limits too tight, and you start blocking your real paying users. That hurts business. But if your limits are missing or they're way too loose, you're just leaving the door wide open for scrapers and all sorts of automated abuse. Finding that perfect sweet spot takes a real strategy, not just a number you picked out of thin air.
And finally, the system that seems solid until it's put under pressure.
So you think you're safe because you have authentication, right? Well, not so fast. It can fail in some really unexpected ways. We're talking about things like weak JWT secrets, tokens that never actually expire, or refresh logic that an attacker can bypass with a weird sequence of requests. These are exactly the kinds of edge cases where critical vulnerabilities love to hide.
All right, so that's the scary stuff. These problems are common, they're real, and they're definitely dangerous. So now let's pivot and talk about the solution. This is all about turning those potential disasters into strengths through specific, targeted work that gets you real, tangible security outcomes.
Look, making an API genuinely secure isn't about ticking one box. It's a comprehensive approach. It means we're going to probe your endpoints just like an attacker would. And we're going to do a deep dive on your OAuth and JWT flows to find those sneaky flaws. It's about building a rate-limiting strategy that actually protects you without annoying your users, and it's about locking down how you manage secrets. And the best part, you get it all in a plain English report, so your team knows exactly what to fix and why.
I get it. If you're a busy CTO or a founder, hearing all that might sound like a huge, complicated project. But the process is actually designed to be the complete opposite. It's simple, it's clear, and it's efficient. Let me just show you what an engagement actually looks like. It all boils down to 4 super straightforward steps. We start with a quick 30-minute discovery call, just to understand your tech stack and what's on your mind. From there, we define a really clear, tight scope for the audit, so there are absolutely no surprises. After that, you get a prioritized report, and finally, you've got options. We can help you fix things, or you can take the roadmap and run with it internally. Totally flexible.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the bottom line. Because for any decision maker, a CTO, a business owner, proactive security isn't just a cost. When you think about the breach it prevents, it becomes a direct investment in the stability and, honestly, the reputation of your entire business.
Think about this number for a second. Nearly $500,000. That's the average cost of a data breach. That single number really puts the financial risk of just not doing anything into sharp focus, doesn't it?
And it's not just about the money, it's about time. Without the right monitoring in place, it takes on average 19 days just to realize a breach even happened. 19 days! With the right visibility and alerting, that detection time becomes real time. And that, my friends, is the difference between containing a problem and a full-blown catastrophe.
So when you look at it this way, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? The
The investment in being proactive and doing an audit and hardening your API, it is a tiny, tiny fraction of the potential cost of a breach. You're not just buying a service, you're buying insurance against a massive financial and reputational nightmare.
And this isn't just theory. The results are totally tangible. After we work with clients, they see a huge, measurable drop in risk across all the major problem areas, from credential leaks to broken auth. You're actively making yourself a much, much smaller target for attackers.
Okay, I know what a lot of you running startups or small teams might be thinking right now. We're a small team. We're just trying to survive. Isn't all this security stuff kind of overkill for us? And you know what? It's a completely fair question.
But here's the thing, and it's a little counterintuitive. Small teams are often more exposed, not less. Because everyone is wearing a million hats and focused on shipping, those crucial security details just get missed. The key is that the scope of an engagement is always adjusted to fit your size and your budget. Seriously, even 1 hour spent reviewing your auth flow can uncover critical issues that might have sat there unnoticed for months.
So let me ask you a direct question. After hearing all this, can you say with 100% confidence that you know exactly where your own API stands?
Look, if there's even a tiny bit of doubt in your mind, the path forward is super simple. Just start with a conversation. 30 minutes, that's all it takes for us to understand your setup and give you an honest opinion on whether there's something worth looking at more closely. It's such a small investment of your time to protect the business that you've worked so incredibly hard